Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Let's talk about all the news that happened this week at FC Bayern. So there are three big topics that I want to discuss this week, and one little one that I also want to talk about. So the first three topics that we're going to get into, the major topics. The first one of those being this whole Flick versus Salihamidzic. Flick versus Brazo. Hansi Flick versus Salihamidzic. All right. It's a discussion that has divided the fan base in one regard, but also brought them together, honestly. And let's talk about it. I've not talked about it at all, and I wanted to talk about it, but I've not talked about it at all. Now, one thing I will say as well is that this will be quite a long video, as you can probably tell by the length of this video. But yeah, this will be mainly in a podcast format, so you can primarily listen to it, and I will have timestamps in the description down below, so you guys can click on those to see topics that interest you. Maybe you'll find this also on Spotify. I'm not sure yet, but if that is the case, I will have it linked in this description down below as well. I kind of want to do this into a weekly series, so this is the beginning of it all, I guess, but it's more also just a roundup of all the interesting news articles that I've not talked about on this channel myself yet. So, the Flick versus Salihamidzic situation. So, here's the thing, right? I personally never cared about this until it was made such a big story. Now, Bild has been reporting for this for like the last 2 weeks, and I've just ignored it because, you know what, who cares? Who cares if two employees of FC Bayern, you know, if they don't like each other, if they, maybe don't like each other is maybe even harsh, but if they don't agree with each other, you know, that's normal. You look at the amount of times that Uli Hoeneß and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge have not agreed with each other, that's normal. You reportedly, like, they've not agreed with each other for like the last 10 years. But guess what? For the good of FC Bayern, they've still, you know, managed to maintain, you know, a professional relationship. You don't need to like everybody. You don't need to agree with everybody, and you most certainly don't have to be friends with everybody to work efficiently and at a high level. Now, people have obviously taken the side of Hansi Flick. You all know how I stand, how I think about Flick. I think, you know, I'll say it. I think the fanboys are a little bit outrageous. They're a little bit out there. They're ravenous, if I'm being completely honest. Because, yes, he won us all his trophies. You can't deny that. But the football we've been playing has not been great. Defensively, at least. Offensively, I think it's been the best football I've seen in my lifetime. But defensively, it's been atrocious. But the thing is, it's not even how we're playing or how we're performing, anything of that sort. I just think people hail Flick as this superhuman figure, and I think people will get burned by that. That's all I'm going to say. I think people will get burned by that, because at the end of the day, what matters, you know, is that you're working for Bayern. Everyone, I guess I'm a little bit special in this scenario because I don't really care if we sell any players, and I don't really care if we sack any managers. I don't care if we hire any players, and I don't really care if we, you know, hire any managers. There are some exceptions, you know. Douglas Costa was a big one that I was against, but that's mainly because of, you know, his previous stint at Bayern. But in general, like, if we sack or if we hire anyone, I'm personally not one that's necessarily going to, you know, be in uproar. That's not me. Like, you won't see me with a Korn Neuer banner. That's not going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. Equally, you probably won't see me necessarily, like, holding a banner that says, yo, welcome Neuer. You know, that's not me. I'm just like, okay, I'll see how you perform. I'll see what you do. Okay, cool. It's a business at the end of the day. You know, football, we love to romanticize it, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And what matters is that, like, for the good of the team, those two can put their issues aside and work as a team. Now, here's the thing. This is the reason why I'm talking about it. Because this was all reported, right? This was reported for weeks now. For 2 weeks, for 3 weeks now, right? And I was like, who cares? And then Bill came out the story, I think, that said that Flick basically told Salihamidzic to shut the flip up, all right? Shut the front door, basically, to STFU, all right? He basically told him, you know, STFU, you talk too much, all right? And I was like, that doesn't seem like Flick. That doesn't seem like his character. He doesn't seem like someone that gets heated necessarily, like, you know, says something in like in the heat of a conversation. But no, it turns out that was actually the case, because Flick actually admitted to saying that in the press conference. He said, I'm not going to quote him per se, but he said something along the lines of, we had our discussions, and I guess we were both very emotional, and in that heat of the moment, I said something that I shouldn't have, but we apologized, and it's all in the past now. But like the fact that that's actually true, the fact that that basically says, you know what, I did say, I was unprofessional. To me, that's a big stain on his record now. That's a big stain on his record, right? Because the way I see it is just like this. He's your superior. If we're looking at, take away the romanticism of football and look at the business side of things. He's your direct superior, right? He's the one that's in charge. Like ultimately, if he doesn't like you, he can get rid of you. You can't get rid of him. He's your boss. So to not have the professionality to, be calm and rational with your boss. And I get that. We've all done mistakes, I guess I haven't. But we've all done mistakes. Alright, when I say we, I don't mean myself, but we've all done mistakes, alright? We've all done mistakes at our job. And the reason why I haven't is because I don't think I've ever worked for more. I've worked for a day. I've worked for one day before at Amazon. I was like, okay, I'll try something new. Worked there for it was a half a day. Half a day, and I was like, while I was at my break, I was like, I don't like this, I'm going home. So that's the longest I've ever worked, like, seriously. So, I guess I'm the worst case scenario for this because I've been mainly working, alone. I've been mainly working at home at my own spare time. So I haven't really had a traditional boss, per se. But anyone that's ever worked in any sort of profession has most likely done something wrong before, right? They've most likely said something wrong, done something wrong to their direct superiors. Usually what happens is you get your pay docked, or you get fired, or you get suspended. With Flick, it's such a weird scenario because there was no punishment, there was no anything, but it was leaked. And that's the issue. Like it was leaked. And it's quite telling that like the likes of Joshua Kimmich, who else was I think someone else came out as well. I think it might have been Neuer. I'm not 100% sure, but it was definitely Kimmich that basically said, yes, of course, all this discussion about Flick and Salihamidzic, of course, it's getting to us. Of course, we're hearing it and it's taking effect. We can't just ignore it. So like it's affecting the team, and that's the kind of thing that I don't like. Like if you're having personal issues, all right, fair enough. Do what you must, do what you can, but like don't bring it. Don't let it influence the entire team. That's my issue. Like, don't let it influence. Don't let it get to the team. Don't let it get leaked. Now, of course, the question is who leaked it. I think a lot of people have said, well, it has to be Salihamidzic. It has to be. Ever since he's arrived, there's been so much that's been leaked to the press. My thing is this, though. There is so much that was being leaked to the press to build specifically. Honestly, since like 2008. I want to say, I'm not sure about the exact year, but roughly like 2008. And people used to think that Lam was the mole. People used to say, it's obvious Lam. He got when he released his book, his autobiography, it was Bill that published it, so on and so forth. So it had to be Lam that has like an exclusive deal. He's the one that always chats to the press and leaks all the lineups and always leaks all negative stuff about the club. But Lam's not at the club anymore, and the leaks they stopped for like a month or two. When Lam retired, they stopped for like a month or two, and people were like, "Oh, okay, so Lam had to be the mole." And then they continued, and that to me means okay, it wasn't it's not Salihamidzic, and it wasn't Lam. It was probably or maybe it could have been Lam back then, and now it's him Salihamidzic now. I don't know, but to me, I don't think so. I think it's someone else. And the thing with newspapers, you always want to have a public and a private persona. The public persona that Bayern has is that we hate Bild. There was this in the press conference and everything, they directly attacked Bild, so on and so forth. But in private, you don't know what they're thinking. In private, they're thinking, what? If we need a story spun in the right way, let's call up a few people at Bild, at Sport Bild, and let's have them put out a good piece for us, because that's just the way, the nature of this whole situation. As we've seen with Romano Fabrizio, if you've followed him over the last summer, you can actually get to realize like how this profession kind of works, how you get transfer sources, how you get pieces from clubs, how it all works, and it's all about relationship. So even if the public relationship is negative, in private it could be a completely different story. So I'm not necessarily pointing fingers at anyone here. Like for me, this whole discussion is done. It's done. It's settled. As far as we've been told, it's settled. They've discussed it. They've settled it. Hopefully, it's a non-issue from now on. But I don't like the fact that it was almost leaked. It was leaked. Yes, it was leaked to the press, but like it affected the team. That's when I have issues. Like, sort your issues out in private. Again, it is what it is. You can't say. I'm honestly a little bit disappointed. If I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed in Flick for how he handled that situation. And if Salihamidzic did leak it to the press, I'm disappointed in him as well. Because there's no need for that. Keep that stuff private and just move on from there and sort it out. To me, that just shows bad leadership. If it was him leaking it to the press. Because that just to me seems like, oh, something mean happened to me. Let me go report it to my buddies in the press. Like, nah, that's no bueno, in my opinion. That's no bueno. Now, that's that situation. Honestly, I just hope the situation is, gone. I just hope the situation is done and dusted with, and it's a non-issue from here on out. Now, next thing is obviously the PSG draw. I talked about this a little bit while the draw was happening, but I want to talk about it now, and I'll obviously be talking about it a lot more in the future. So, for those guys who follow Half Hope Football Hut, I recently made an appearance there, and I said something with my chest that I'm going to repeat right here with my chest. And that is that I think Bayern will beat PSG on aggregate 8-3. 8-3. You heard me correct. 8-3. Now here's the thing. I've been caught many things over the past couple of days, but the reason why I'm thinking that, there is a reason to my madness. And the reason to my madness is this. PSG have been atrocious this season. Like there is a reason, right? There is a reason why it took them until like this week to be first in Liga, and that has to do with how they started the season. That has to do with how they played in the middle of the season, and that has to do with how they're playing now towards the end of the season, and how their competitors, their direct competitors for the title, have dropped off. You look at Lille. It's actually kind of sad, honestly. It's kind of sad because the second look, all right, I don't have any favorites for the Liga table, all right? I don't. Trust me, I don't, right? It's not like I want one team to win over another. But the second I started repping Jonathan David, right, from Lille, is the second they started flopping, all right? It's the second they were like, oh yeah, we're comfortably first, to like, oops, we're sliding down the table. It's the second I was like, ooh, Jonathan David looks like a good player. Let me keep an eye on him, like, seriously. And then, nope. So, I almost blame myself here. But like Lille, it's honestly a little bit of a disappointment. Honestly, they're a decent team, good enough to win Liga. I don't think so. Like PSG, if we're being completely fair here, PSG had a lot of injuries and a lot of suspensions at the beginning of the season, but I still don't think they are all that good as a team. They've got a worse manager than they've had last season. Their defense is worse. Their midfield, it's not really that. It's basically the same thing, honestly. And their attack is, Some may say it's better because the players are hitting form. Mbappe, okay. But Neymar, and Mbappe's not that much of a big threat. It's Neymar that's really like the big issue. But like he hasn't really been playing at all this season. I mean, he never really plays football. He's basically always injured, or ill, or sick, or suspended, or whatever. But I'm quite confident in this game. You'd say, well, we haven't really kept much clean sheets in this season. So what makes me confident going against PSG, who's got a very quick, very good attack? And it's a very valid point to make. But the point I'm making is actually quite simple. In the big games, we have showed up. in the big games, we have actually defended solidly. When we had to, we've actually defended pretty fairly. It always took us a little to get going, and if we conceded in those early moments, it actually very much similar to like last season, where like last season the first 10 minutes or so we were vulnerable. This season it's less so the case. This season, it's more so the case where we're just bad defensively over the whole 90 minutes. But in the big games, in like the truly big clashes, we've actually been relatively solid. Of course, there are two exceptions: the game against Dortmund and the game against Leipzig, of course. But once they put us under that pressure, we've responded well. In the Champions League, we've responded well. In the Champions League, we've played good, right? And our defense has gotten better over the past couple of weeks and months. It might not be that obvious considering we're still conceding goals left, right, and centre, but our defense is better. Our midfield is stronger. Our attack is better. So we're just getting better and better. Now, some may make the argument that, well, last season, PSG in the final, it was a very close game. This season, it could be, not that close. My argument is this: if you actually rewatch the game, second half, Bayern was just the superior team, like a far more dominant team. But it was one of those few games where we weren't clinical, which is actually kind of funny considering we're actually outperforming our expected goal. I hate XG so much; it's such a useless stat, honestly. But like we're actually outperforming our XG. We're actually scoring goals when we really shouldn't be scoring as many. But because we're doing it so consistently, it's not a case where I'm worried that, we're suddenly not going to do that. No. I felt like last season, a little bit towards like the end of the Champions League, we kind of left our steam. But like this season, we haven't really gotten going yet. Like we've gotten going slow. We've gotten going. Why does that sentence sound wrong in my head? This season, we haven't really got going, besides like for a few moments here and there. But like for a full game, not really. Which is actually what makes me more confident. Because if we're in a prime form, I'd be like, I'm a little bit worried. But if we're not, we're having these moments. And in the Champions League, we've had a lot more moments in the Bundesliga and the DP Pokal, but we're still having some moments. So I feel like this game, because of the importance, we're going to have a lot more moments and we're going to have a full game. And that's what I think. First game, we're going to win 5-2. And then the second game, we're going to win 3-1. That's my predictions. That's my prediction on the Bayern versus PSG game. I will be talking about this game in a lot more detail in the future. Hopefully, I can do a proper preview with someone I've got in mind who actually messaged me about it. So that's a nice thing. Because, what, I've seen most PSG games, I won't lie, but it's always better to hear it from someone that has actually, like, watched them, because I've just seen them, right? When I say that, I usually mean, like, it's on my second monitor, I've got nothing else to watch, I'll have it on the second monitor while I'm playing something on the first one. That's basically what I mean when I say seen, alright? But, like, it's not like the same as like when Bayern play, for example, where I like actively watch them. When I'm actually actively trying to like look at the game, actively like my full attention is diverted to that. That isn't really the case with like other teams where I just have them on the second monitor or on the third monitor, and I'm just like, okay, let me have that on like in my peripheral vision while I'm doing something else. But yeah, that is the PSG game that we can look forward to. The third one is, I haven't talked about it, and I wanted to. It's going to be a relatively short topic, and that is that Bayern, we won 4-0 against Stuttgart after going a man down, with an obviously Lewandowski hat-trick, and Gnabry scoring a fantastic goal. Wonderful. Wonderful. A response, a reaction. Like, that's basically what I mean. Like, we've not performed well, because Stuttgart was outplaying us until Davies goes in. Until Davies got injured, they were outplaying us. Like, honestly, like it felt like we were a pup team, and that's the case a lot of the time this season, if we're being completely honest. But it felt like we were truly a pup team, and they came here to outplay us, and you know what they did. But I must say, I like the response. I'm disappointed that it had to take it took a red card for us to respond, that we didn't get back into the game, from our own volition, that we didn't get back into the game because of, you know what, they're playing too good. Let's humble them. Nothing of that sort. It was more so a case of, oh no, we're down to 10 men. Let's actually try now. Which is to me just a little bit disappointing because I wanted it to be more so from their own effort. Well, okay, it was their own effort, but like from their own desire rather than our need to be like, oh, you know what? Let's play serious. Like you know, that's kind of my issue with it. But overall, very, very happy. 4 goals, you know, in like what 10 minutes we scored them. I think Davis got the card in the 23rd minute, and I think like, you know, Lewandowski scored the first one in like the 25th. Then you've got Gnabry with absolutely wonderful goal. With the passing was crisp from Sané to Müller to Müller to Sané to Sané to Gnabry, and Gnabry passing it into the goal. And then you've got Lewandowski again, and Lewandowski picking up the loose ball and winning it and scoring it again. Perfect hat-trick, right foot, header, left foot. Perfect hat-trick from Lewandowski, inching closer and closer to the Gerd Müller record. I couldn't care less. Absolutely, I don't care if he's breaking that record or not, if I'm being completely honest. The record is going to get broken eventually anyway. Whether it's Lewandowski now or whether it's going to be another striker in, you know, 5 years down the line. True fact of the matter is this. Bayern will always have either the best strikers in world football or, you know, the best German strikers in world football. And usually these are the same thing. You know, usually the best German strikers are the best strikers in world football. That isn't the case right now. There is no good striker in world football yet. Keyword yet. But like whoever is the best striker in world football will be playing at Bayern. So the fact of the matter is this: the record is going to get broken eventually because Bayern is as dominant as they've ever been. I would be shocked if the record didn't get broken this season. Honestly, last season I was shocked that it didn't get broken because we're now better than we've ever been. In terms of goal scoring, in terms of us compared to the Bundesliga, right? Because you look back at to even 2013, you know, when people were saying that was our best team, it's debatable whether it's 2013 or the 1970 team. I'd say it's probably the Look, I'm saying it's a 2013, 2012, 2013 team, all the way up to like 2015. Honestly, like that whole yup to Pep era is what I would consider the best Bayern I've ever seen. The most complete Bayern and the best Bayern I've ever seen. Because it's probably because, you know, I'm a lot more biased towards that than like the 1970s team, granted. But like, you know, I was shocked that we didn't break that record back then, but that's because we had a lot different. We had a different style of wingers back then. We had more greedier wingers, more wingers that would like destroy the game rather than just be out there for blood. And now we've got wingers that are out there for blood. So like, compared to like our competition as well, it's just significant. There's just a significant difference right now. Look at, you know, 2013, Dortmund was an actual threat back then, which they're not now. And now it's obviously Leipzig, but like that's only domestic. They're still a very young team in terms of Champions League experience, so like don't expect anything from them in that department. And considering their lack of striker, you know, it just doubles up. But yeah, I mean, look, alright. If it's not broken this season, I think, honestly, it's a little bit of a shock. But it will get broken. There is no way around it. It will get broken. It is what it is. It will get broken, and I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue with that at all. I do want to know what the number will be. That's the interesting part. I do want to know what the number will be, but hey, we'll see about that. You know, Stuttgart Dome. If I was them, I'd be quite disappointed, honestly. Because you're doing so well, you're honestly dominating the game against Bayern, against the massive, the giants that are Bayern. Yes, I'm propping ourselves up here. But yeah, you're doing so well, you're dominating us, you're making us look like a pup side. And then, oh, they've only got 10 men. Oh, now it's time for us to really strike. And then you get counted. And you just lose. And it's like, bro, it's a 23rd minute. Why are we going all out attacking? Nah, if I was Stuttgart, I'd be livid. If I was a Stuttgart fan or a Stuttgart player, I would be livid. I'd be like, man, this is pointless. This is pointless, alright? This is just, there is no point even turning up anymore. Like, this is over. This is gone, alright? It's a foregone conclusion, and it will always be a foregone conclusion. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Things will never be the same. No, things will always be the same. You know, that's the facts of math. That's the fact of life, and the fact of the way the world works, and that is that it doesn't matter what you do, at the end of the day, Bayern wins. I'm cocky nowadays. I'm really cocky nowadays. I don't know why. I wonder. But yeah, you know, 4-0 against Stuttgart, keeping our streak going. We have the very important game against Leipzig coming up soon, I think in 2 games, which obviously will essentially be the title clash. The title decider. I think the game's going to end as a draw because you always draw against Leipzig. So I don't think we're going to win that game. I think it's going to be a draw. But we'll see how it all goes down. We'll see whether they drop points before then or after then. We'll see how the title will look by then. But ultimately, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that game. Very interesting. Great-o. Amazing all. Last thing I want to talk about, and that was just a very small topic. I don't know how I'm going to approach this. The team. I'll just start with that. The team, the squad. There are many people that think our squad is weak. There are many people that think our team is weak. There are many people that think we should have done a lot better in the transfer window. And there are many people that think we did well in the transfer window, considering the circumstances. Where do I fall? I'm pretty much in the middle. I think, we did what we had to. We could have done better, but like at the end of the day, I'm not up in arms about it. I'm not like one of those people that are like, man, where's the right back, mate? If only we spent 5 million more. Nah, I think we did what we could. Ultimately, we could have done better, but like, we got signings for each position that we needed. Now, the fact that, Flick doesn't play them, that's a different story. Because whenever Rocha has played, just for an example, whenever Rocha has played, he's looked good. He's not looked amazing, but he's looked good. Should he be getting more game time? Absolutely. Javi as well, whenever he's played, he's looked good. Is he getting more game time? Oh, no. So there is an element to rotation, which is especially crazy considering that like every other area of the pitch gets rotated a lot. You have Musiala playing in the number 10 position a lot. You have our wingers constantly being rotated. You have a forward, even Lewandowski, who usually never gets rotated, gets rotated frequently and regularly with Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting. It's only our midfielders that don't get rotated. And that's kind of worrying. And you could say our defenders too. Which is also kind of worrying because the areas that we rotate the most, aka our wingers, our attacking midfielder, and our strikers, those are the areas we can all say, you know what, we are amazing in. Those are the ones that, that well rested, and those are the ones that are performing. Then you've got the other areas that are not being rotated, and those are the ones that are not performing. So, I wonder why. Maybe fatigue is setting in a COVID season where we're essentially playing every 3 to 4 games. I wonder why. My thing is this though, right? All the criticism that I've had this season, and there's been plenty, I'm not shying away from them at all. I think they're very well justified, if I'm being completely honest. But because we keep winning, that's it's almost the annoying part. It's almost an annoying part that like there is so much going wrong with Bayern, but because we keep winning, it's getting brushed under the rug. And it's like once there is so much dirt under that rug, and somebody exposes all that dirt, people are gonna wake up and realize, wait, we shouldn't have brushed it under the rug. But my voice will fall on deaf ears because again, we keep winning. So people are gonna be like, who cares? Who cares? Our defense, we can't keep a clean sheet. Who cares? And as I said, I'm not gonna complain anymore. For this season, usually I wouldn't, but just because it's pointless, honestly. It's pointless criticizing the team. It's pointless criticizing the management. It's pointless criticizing the squad. It's pointless criticizing anybody at the club at the moment because no matter what I say, we'll keep winning. Yes, we concede 1 goal. Yes, we concede 2 goals. Yeah, we'll concede 3 goals. But then we'll score 4 and 5. And it's like, who cares? It's like, bro. But like, just it's pointless, all right? It's pointless, all right? It's pointless trying to have an actual debate with anyone because they'll just be, but victory go brrr. And I'm like, but victory doesn't go brrr. We concede here, we concede there. Frustrating. Frustrating. That's what I'll call it, all right? And that's actually the point I'm trying to make. That, like, this team has become uncriticizable. I don't think that's a word, but it has become uncriticizable. You can't criticize this team anymore. You can't criticize anyone of the management anymore. And you can't criticize the coach anymore. You can't criticize anyone anymore because, well, we keep winning. And I almost feel like people were that desperate for the Champions League. People were that desperate for the Champions League that now they've become untouchable. And I feel like the players, the management, the coaching staff, and everyone else also feels like they're untouchable. And it helps that they can't really get the feedback from the fans, from like, because we're not having fans in the stadium, that like they genuinely feel they're untouchable. In this like own, I guess probably the best way to phrase it, in their own little bubble. And as I said, this is a special season. I've talked at great length about it all. I've talked at great length about it all, about the team, about everyone, all right? And I've said that I wouldn't do so anymore myself this season. Like, this is an off season. That this isn't a footballing season. This is a joke season, all right? So I'm treating it as a joke season. I'm not taking anything serious. If we go to lose 5-0 tomorrow, it's a joke season. If we go to win 5-0 tomorrow, it's a joke season. And that's kind of the vibe I'm having. I'm just vibing, all right? It's just a vibe season, all right? But the big worry is this, like, and I guess that's my message to everyone that's listening. I don't know if you're still listening at this point, but that's my message to everyone that's listening, right? Whether it's on YouTube or maybe on Spotify and whatnot, all the other podcast things, but I don't think I'll do that, honestly. That seems like too much work. But here's my message to everyone. It's okay. It's okay to criticize. As long as you keep it reasonable, as long as you're actually criticizing something that should be criticized, and not just criticizing the most mundane, pointless things ever, and as long as you're being fair, right? As long as it obviously doesn't overstep the boundaries of criticism, because constructive criticism, look, criticism is criticism. It should be what it is. You should be free to criticize. It's a free world. Do what you want. But it does seem like if you're just on your own, whatever. If you're just talking to your friends, whatever, But like if you're talking to a wider audience, if you're talking, let's say you're on any social media, there are like 100 million Facebook, Bayern Facebook groups. There are like 100 million Instagram groups. There are 100 million Twitter pages, so on and so forth. It's almost like a vacuum. And if you're going against that vacuum, if you're going against that, if you're going against the grain, it often seems like maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm foolish. Maybe I shouldn't say what I'm saying. And the point is, say what you say. If you believe in something, say it. If you think something, say it. If you dislike something, say it. As long as it's constructive, It's the same thing about this channel. For example, somebody recently said that my videos have been terrible recently because the audio has been so bad, because I've been shooting them, while walking, while jogging, while in the playground, so on and so forth. You know what? That's a very, very valid argument. I'm not going to be like, man, that's BS. How dare you stop? Of course not. Of course. And that was a mild comment. That was not like nothing malicious. That was like nothing bad or anything of that sort. But like, it's a valid criticism. And I'm not going to, be like, how dare you? like, come on, bro. Like, come on. We're all bad in that, right? We're all bad in that. So that's kind of like the message I guess I'm leaving it off with, and that is just that say with your chest. The whole point of, first of all, this channel, I created to say what I wanted to say and get it off my chest. So I'm definitely not going to stop other people just because they have different opinion than me, just because they think differently than me. I'm not going to stop them from saying or thinking what they want to do or want to say. It's honestly, it becomes, it probably, I'm probably in this unique situation because I do have this YouTube channel. So I actually do see, whenever someone comments, I do get all the messages. I don't respond to most of them, granted, unless like somebody says, could you answer this question? But like, I do get all the messages. Whenever somebody comments, I get an email, basically. You know, I may not see it right away, but I always see the email eventually, because I always check all my emails, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is this. I'm probably in a unique position where, because, you know, I'm on Facebook pages, I'm on Instagram pages, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube. I basically see this kind of like people being shut down. And I have an issue with that. I personally do have an issue with that. But at the end of the day, here's what matters, right? Here's what truly matters. And that is that you're being true to yourself, I guess. That's how we're ending it. You're being true to yourself. You're saying what you think. You're saying what you feel, and ultimately, you don't let anyone stop. You don't let you don't let the mob mentality, you know, crush what you have to say. Let your voice be heard. Ultimately, you know, as you always see in the background of all my videos on the whiteboard. Granted, this video. This isn't a video, it's a talk, but you know, if you look at the background of all my videos, it always, on the whiteboard, it always says ECHR Article 10, which essentially means the European Convention on Human Rights, Article 10, which is the freedom of expression. And that is what is important, that everyone has a right, and everyone has the freedom to express themselves. You should all have the right and freedom to express yourself. No matter what your thoughts, views, you know, no matter what they are, express yourself. If you don't like how the team is playing, say it. If you do love how the team is playing, say it. But say it with your chest. And that's all I'm going to say. Until next time, everyone, have a nice day. This was Bayernfantv, and bye.